I'm Faria from Uplift, and I'm here with William. He's the founder of Fight Legends. Hey, William, how are you doing
Hello,
today?
Farah. I'm very well. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Cool. So,
Nice.
can you tell us a bit about yourself and about Fight Legends? What is it?
Sure. Sure. So, well, I'm a father of two, an 8-day-old, a 420 baby, and a 5.5-year-old. I've been a gamer for more than 30 years, almost my entire life. But I've spent most of my professional life building mixed martial arts brands, running fight shows throughout Australia, and building the Mixed Martial Arts Federation of Australia. So I'm still a director of that peak sporting body. And yeah, most of my contacts around the world are from the combat sports world. So that's me. Fight Legends. And Fight Legends is my game. It's I've always wanted to build video games my whole life. COVID gave me that opportunity to dive full-time into Web3 when it shut down my other businesses. And I ran with it. I changed course and I'm never looking back. We've got a gaming studio. We're building a 2.5D fighting game set in a 3D open world. And we hope to redefine the fighting game genre with Fight Legends.
Amazing. So, this is like a perfect example about how your passion in fighting, in mixed martial arts, has been able to kind of enter the Web3 space.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it transfers quite a lot. I see a lot of people in the space coming across that way as well. You know, a lot of our partner brands are from the fighting world. Some of the biggest brands in fighting are making their way into Web3. But look, at the end of the day, the entire world's moving towards Web3, isn't it? Web3 is just the next internet. It's what's happening.
So, what excites you about the GameFi space, and where do you see its growth?
Look, gamify. What excites me is player-owned assets and player-owned currency, as well as the cultural change and the innovation that comes with that. When fundamental shifts happen, both in technology, economy, and culture, you create a new paradigm. And it's that new paradigm that excites me. The fact that we're staring down the barrel of a new era in gaming. Not just, I mean, it's happening worldwide in all industries. But for me, what excites me is that the gaming industry is evolving into a new and different beast. So it's going to be great.
And I guess being involved in it at such an early stage as well, you can help kind of define what it looks like.
We get to shape it. We get to be part of that innovation. You know, we're the first people to show up at the mountain during a gold rush. You know, we're there when electricity is being created. We are at like the precipice of change, and that excites me greatly.
Amazing. Can you tell us a bit more about the inspiration behind Fight Legends and the team behind this amazing project?
Yeah, well, like, as you know, the combat sports side of it obviously inspired me towards the fighting game. I would love to build other types of games as well in my future. But right now, our flagship title is a fighting game because that's what I love. If you picture a Venn diagram and you sort of saw martial arts, anime and fantasy fighting, crypto and gaming, Fight Legends is right in the middle of that. And those four things are four of my biggest passions. So for me, that's what inspired me. And it's kind of what inspires the team as well. The team's led by a good friend of mine and a very talented autodidact independent developer. He's an abnormal human being, an extreme genius. And beneath him, we've got guys with decades of industry experience. You know, our stage designer was designing stages on Street Fighter V. Our lead animator that took us this far, he was on Tekken 4 and 5 and Soul Calibur.
Wow.
You know, like these are some incredibly
a few years, isn't it? Like Tekken,
yeah.
that's around many.
That goes way back. These guys are like 30 years in the industry.
Yeah.
That guy he doesn't work for us full time. He works for, I'm not going to say because I don't want to out him, but he works for one of the biggest studios on the planet. So do some of the mentors that we brought on board to get us this far and to shape, help translate the vision into reality. So, you know, we worked with Yoshiki Okamoto, the creator of Street Fighter 2 for 9 months, but 6 months in an official capacity, every week being mentored in strategy, design, and a lot of other things. And he's an incredible human being. But, you know, and we also worked on game design with a game design director from one of the 10 largest game studios on the planet. It's a top 10. I won't say which one it is because to respect his privacy, but we spent every week with him as well. And these gentlemen who are at the top of traditional gaming, you know, you don't really get any higher than these guys. They really helped. I guess they helped sanity check the vision and the innovation, because what we're not just building a fighting game copy. We're not building there's Street Fighter, let's do a crypto Street Fighter. We're trying to redefine a gaming genre that's been left behind somewhat by the rest of the gaming genres, as a lot of gamers would understand about fighting games. And in order to do that, we have a lot of extreme innovation, but we needed to sanity check that. And so getting the big stamp of approval from some of the world's leading game designers and developers and publishers, that was a huge thing. And then look, as a studio, what we tend to do is we choose our leading roles from industry experts, and then we fill out talented up-and-comers beneath them. And that's kind of our strategy for team building.
Amazing. It definitely sounds like you've done your research and really like got those connections to the people across the different areas to really make sure that you're creating something which, you know, addresses all the different areas, like the gaming, the fighting, the animation side, which all of these are essential to building a good quality GameFi game.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's about building more than, it's about going, okay, everything's play to earn, gamify, Web3 or traditional Web2. But look beyond that. Okay, look 5 years down the line, there is no more Web2. Everything is Web3. There is no more gamify. Everything is Web3. There's no more play to earn. There's games that you might be able to earn in. And how do you survive and thrive in that environment? You have to innovate. You have to be different. And you can't prop your game up on the earnability of its players. It has to be something much more than that. It has to appeal to consumers in a world where billion-dollar IPs are coming into the space, right? So that's where we think, and that, I don't know how much time I have to get into all that.
No, thank you.
It's a different beast. It's a different beast.
Thank you so much. Can you tell us a bit about what makes Fight Legends different to other games that are out there at the moment?
Well, fortunately, there's not too many Web3 games attempting to build an esports grade fighting game. It's hard, and player retention is generally lower than your other game genres. So we kind of stand out just by trying, you know. But as I was sort of explaining before, if you look at, so we stand out against Web3 games, but how do we stand out against Web2 games? How do we stand out against Street Fighter, Tekken, Mortal Kombat? And that's where we really looked to the problems we could solve. And that's a good starting place for innovation. So the biggest problems in fighting games are player retention, which is also the most important metric in any game, is player retention, right? The longevity and health and profitability of your game, size of your community, all of that, it relies on player retention. Fighting games have a retention mechanic called mastery, which is where you play it, you get better. You know, it's your journey to getting better at the game is the reason you come back to play it, because you're competing with other people. And that doesn't suit the majority of gamers, and not casual gamers at all. And so what you find is you have like a concrete pillar of fighting game community, and everyone outside of that's not really retained in the game. So what we did, we sought to include player retention mechanics that fighting games don't include, you know. And by building a 2.5D fighting game inside a 3D open world with player-owned assets, with player-owned currency, it opens up the door to create a whole bunch of new retention mechanics inside the game that no one else would. So things like social features and interactions, which are generally weak in fighting games, story depth, weak in fighting games, live ops, weak in fighting games. Think Fortnite, that's a live ops game. So think about that. In-world investment doesn't exist in fighting games. Economic depth doesn't exist in fighting games. Wagering, personalization, greater feedback loops, deeper event options. So when you've got a 3D open world, you can create a lot more limited events, seasonal events, it just goes on and on and on. We've included like 12 strong player retention mechanics in our design that don't really exist, or if they do exist, they're very weak in traditional fighting games. So when I say we're redefining the genre, we're literally redefining it. We're taking the fighting game and evolving it into something else that brings together, you know, the Web3 culture, Web3 economies, Web3 social and community aspects, as well as mechanics from role-playing games and dungeon crawlers and live ops games just like Fortnite. And we're bringing, just picture this. I know I've ranted, but picture Street Fighter 6, which has an open world, but it's single player, Fortnite, and Grand Theft Auto. And if all of them had a baby, that baby would be Fight Legends. If that baby was also Web3. That's what we're doing.
Amazing. Thank you. And it's good that you've given examples that, you know, even I can relate to. I'm aware of all of those ones. So yeah, that definitely helps as someone who's not so invested. And, you know, I don't really play so many GameFi games at the moment. I've dabbled, I've tried, but it sounds like something that even newbies to the space can get to grips with. And
that's so important. The game designers in this space should be designing games where a player does not have to interact with or see the words NFT, wallet, crypto, none of that. They should play a game and think they're just playing a game. And most of it should be handled on the back end, the player ownership side. And they shouldn't have to engage with crypto until they're ready to recognize or draw down their assets to go sell them or interact with a secondary marketplace. Until that point, they don't need to know it's NFT. They don't need to know it's a Binance Smart Chain token or a Matic token. They don't need any of that. They need to play a game for fun and spend their money and let crypto people do what they do.
Amazing. Thank you. So can you elaborate on the unique NFT-based characters in Fight Legends and what are their diverse skills and origins?
I can't go too deep on the skills and origins of the individual fighters yet. It's very early. You know, we've got one of our hero image fighters, Nyx, you know, she's the augmented girl from the streets, you know, the rough life, chased by the corporate elite, and she's anti-establishment and she wants to get back at the man and she's going to rise up and do that. And there's a lot of depth to her soul, right? Like, I love that. It's amazing, you know. And then we've got Ross Levine, who's like a middleweight champion from in real life pro karate, the biggest pro karate promotion on the planet, and he's come across. You know, we've got ex-world champion boxers, 2 of them who are in our game, and I don't want to get into all of them yet because I don't want to spoil the marketing side of things.
It's based on people as well, though.
Well, we primarily not. So primarily it's fictional and created, but part of Web3, the future, this metaverse, is where real life and fantasy come head to head, right? And so our game, we want to include some real life characters in the mix of non-real life, you know, like in the mix of fictional. And it adds that sort of surreal element to the space. So we are including some real life characters, but we mess with them. You know, we change them a little bit. So we grab them and bend with them. But yeah, and look, our assets, it's not just fighters. So we have fighters which will evolve like Pokemon. So, you know, 5 levels of rarity. So players can collect them, sacrifice them, which puts a burn mechanic on the, increases the scarcity of the NFTs as you head towards legendary. But we also have trainer NFTs. We also have a gym or gym home. So a player owns property in our city, right? That they can upgrade, they can sell, they can buy different property. And that's their gym where they store their NFT fighters and train them. And they can place coaches or trainers in that gym to apply buffs to their fighters. You know, so you've got property NFTs, you've got coaching NFTs, you've got your fighter NFTs. And you've even got your player avatar NFT, which is your identity. It's you, the person running around this city, collecting fighters and then transforming into these fighters and fighting other players, right? So there's this whole, I mean, let me talk about that for one sec. You know, Pokemon, right? When you play Pokemon, you're a Pokemon trainer. You use Pokeballs and you collect Pokemon. You evolve your Pokemon and you fight your Pokemon. In our game, You are the player living in this city. You run around, you collect fighters, you train your fighters, you evolve your fighters, but you also transform into your fighters when you fight other players. So it's got that same sort of mix, done differently, done sort of newer, more cyberpunky, but it's got the same juicy elements of collectability, of fantasy, of immersion that Pokemon brought in a fighting game, which, you know, that's never been done. So yeah, there's a lot of NFTs, there's a lot of different modes and stuff like that.
Amazing. But you don't mention the word NFT.
We don't mention the word NFT at all. It's just like, yeah, game assets are player owned. And the way we create that is by using NFTs, you know, and that's, yeah.
Thank you. So how have you integrated DeFi elements into Fight Legends, and what are the benefits for players who participate in staking and other earning opportunities? Like, what are those earning opportunities?
I mean, staking is only a minimal part of this, right? So first of all, staking straight out the gates, when we do our TGE, there'll be basic staking available. Traditional staking and staking for NFTs. Staking for NFTs is better because it increases the value of the token, but it doesn't dump the value of the token when it's unlocked. Right? People earned NFTs. They didn't earn more token to dump on the market. So we favor staking for NFTs. When it comes to our game, where we do phase 2 of staking, I love that. Picture playing GTA and running into the central bank and depositing some of your money and, you know, earning rewards for that. It's immersive. You don't feel like you're staking. You know, I love that. I think it's really, part of the game. So it'll be completely masked within the game. You know, there might be this external portal for crypto degens that don't want to play our game. Maybe. I'm not even sure yet. That will exist while the game's in development, but will it exist in 5 years' time? I don't know. But so that's just staking. The real earn in this game, and it's important to, you can't explain that without talking about the economy. And so we all understand where play to earn came from. Very much Ponzi tokenomics that are not sustainable. There's never been a sustainable play to earn economy other than some that are very recent, potentially, that are in development and new. But you look at the Axes, you look at everyone else, Ponzi tokenomics are not sustainable. They collapse in on themselves. They always will. For me, my belief, and I think it's been backed up by great minds, is that the only infinitely sustainable, earnable economy it's called zero sum plus. And so zero sum is basically, picture wagering. You know, there's a bunch of money and we all grab some and we wager against each other. So if I win, it means you lost. If you win, it means I lost. And it circulates around like that. We can do that. We can play that game forever. It gets sold onto the market. It comes back in, so on and so forth. And it's the same in our game. We have that. We have player wagering. So players will wager against each other for the outcome of the fight, which is really exciting. But we also have tournaments, pro tournaments, where you can pay 10 fight coin, enter the tournament, the winner takes 100 fight coin. It comes from the kitty, you know, that's called zero sum, but it can get boring. So zero sum plus, the plus comes from the additional, whereby we take consumer spend. So people come and buy assets with fight coin. That fight coin goes into a silo and we release a portion of that into the game as rewards, special events, special missions, blah, 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 blah. That silo also allows us to dial up and down the deflation of our token. So price go up while rewards go out. It's a different type of mechanism. The game could be here for 1,000 years and that would still be a sustainable economy. And it allows us to put checks and measures in place onto how much reward and how much deflation we want to put on the token. Beyond all of that, players will be able to hire fighters, buy fighters, and then hire them out to other players, and then keep some of their rewards. So if players aren't too savvy with fighting games, and ours will be an easier fighting game than, say, Street Fighter to master, you know, it's more open for casual players. But if they don't want to play at all, they want to play a more manager version of the game, they can build a stock of fighters and put them out for hire and allow other players to come and hire them and use them to earn rewards and take their split, kind of like a decentralized guild system within the game. So that, yeah, there's a few measures for earning in Fight Legends.
Amazing. Thank you. So how will Fight Legends ensure cross-platform compatibility for versatile gaming experiences?
We will, so we've got a kind of, our strategy is to go PC, mobile, then console, with a potential sidestep onto Apple. It's pretty standard, all of that. It's just the standard journey. It's heavy in development. It costs some money. It's not too complicated. One of the benefits we have for console play is that we're designing with the notion that the player UI UX is the same as or better than traditional gaming, right? So you don't have to do all this wallet stuff all the time. We handle all of that, and when you're ready, you do it. So if you're playing on PlayStation, accumulating assets, accumulating Fightcoin, and you want to go take them out of the game, store them somewhere else, start trading them on the secondary market, log in at a PC to your account and do that, right? And connect with your wallet. You don't need to do that on the PlayStation or the Xbox. So yeah, honestly, it's a pretty standard cross-platform strategy that you would have for a traditional Web 2 game, other than the fact that we want to sidestep onto Apple early because, one, it's easy. The new generation of Apple hardware allows you to design as if you were designing for PlayStation. One design works for all of their different laptops, desktops, right? Because of their new hardware types.
Amazing.
So it's a lot easier than it's ever been before. It's kind of Apple's play into gaming for the next 10 years. Also, at least half of the crypto market is on Apple. So we want them to be able to play our game while it's in development, right? They're our early backers. We want hundreds of thousands of Web3 natives playing our game while we're developing our game. So very early on, we'll be producing a build for Apple as well.
Amazing. And it's not the norm for GameFi, like Web3 games, to build on all those traditional Web 2 platforms like consoles and PCs. I haven't heard of that being like.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of the time, Web3 games are building for Web3, right? Not realizing that the world is becoming Web3, which means Web3 becomes the world. It's a different type of thing. You got to build beyond this market. You cannot just look at crypto people and say, well, I can make $100 million out of the crypto space. It's not about that. I know it's about that for 99% of game developers in this space. It's a monetary play. For us, it's not a monetary play. We're building this because we love games. We want to build the future of gaming. We want to redefine. We want to innovate. We want to change the game. We don't want to just profit off the game, right? So if you just want to profit off the game, narrow your focus, aim for Web3 people, milk as much as you can out of them. Don't worry about 5 years from now. We want to still be here building the biggest, best games for the next 30 years, right? So we have a slightly different awareness and vision to what's generally accepted. Yeah.
Amazing. No, thank you. You broke that down really well. And it definitely sounds interesting. It sounds different to what I've already seen out there. So what types of evolving challenges and quests can players expect to keep them engaged in the game?
Oh, dude, so many. Like being in an open world, I don't know which one to explain. So we've got this stadium, right? So we're selling stadiums, big ticket items for big brands to invest in our world and buy stadiums.
For
inside those, sorry?
Will it be like sponsorships?
Oh, they will own the stadium.
Okay.
And then the owner of the stadium can sell it out, so can sell sponsorship, branding rights, and that sort of thing. So, you know, if say you had, I mean, early on, we're thinking pretty cheap, like $1 million, right? So $1 million to buy a stadium in our game. And you owned that stadium. You own it forever. You can sell it off. We will take a commission on that, but you can sell it off. But while you own it, you can sell sponsorship rights to whoever you want. So you could sell sponsorship rights of our stadium to Binance. So it's the Binance Stadium, right? So they've created a deal with you for sponsorship. But the way it works in our game is that we're going to have thousands of players simultaneously in that stadium going to watch ranked fights played out on the stage in the middle of the stadium. So say you and I are playing say you and I are pro players, and we're playing each other on I don't know, the biolab stage.
Mm-hmm.
These people in the stadium will see our characters re-rendered inside the stadium fighting each other on this epic platform.
Wow.
Up on the big screen as well, and be able to hear each other cheering and sort of have that immersive real life sort of thing. So there'll be all these really cool tournaments played out through that, and players will get a chance to play ranked games in these stadiums. But then outside of that, picture like we do have storyline quests for every fighter that we're integrating into this game. So every fighter that you can collect will have kind of like a single player storyline quest through the city and through the world. But then you have limited time events like global raids. So picture the biolab or the docks. You know, the docks, maybe one day in November, a kraken comes out of the water and starts attacking the city, a giant beast, or a Godzilla comes out of the water. We do an IP deal, right? And we get Godzilla coming out of the water, smashes the docks. So you're running around the city. You have no idea this event's on. You're just playing the game. And then you see all these police cars and sirens down the other end of the city. So you run down, and then you see this giant freaking Godzilla smashing people. And it tells you join the what's it called? Raid. Join the raid. So you could join the raid and you help fight Godzilla, right? So your fight character's fighting this massive beast.
You put me
and millions of players around the world have to fight Godzilla for 24 hours. And if they beat him, they share these massive bounties and rewards for their contribution to defeating Godzilla. So we get all these epic adventures and epic quests that we can integrate in this game that fighting games have literally never come close to attempting. You know, it's
wow,
great.
it sounds epic. And I love how excited you are. Your eyes literally light up when you're talking about these different elements. So I know you have some really, really like top tier backers and partners. So this includes like DAO Maker, SwissBorg Ventures as well, and many more. Like, do you want to tell us a bit more about these and what strategic value do these partnerships bring to the Fight Legends project?
Yeah, so I guess the strategic value for us comes in two forms: connections and advice, right? So I've been in and out of crypto since I faded in 2012, right? Like in 2017, and I've played all the roles that most people have played in this space, but I'm by no means a crypto genius. I'm not a blockchain developer. You know, I'm not at the cutting edge of blockchain tech.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand a lot of the economic side as well as most people that do. There's a lot of these things where, you know, you're only as strong as the people around you. And so our strength is in game design, vision, innovation, this sort of, we are a team of astonishing game developers and designers and indie designers, right? But to succeed in the Web3 space, we need to surround ourselves by people who are brilliant in those areas. And that's where our supporters, our partners, our investors, the people on our cap table have really come in strong and will continue to do so. You know, so you're having an army of really supportive, skilled people around you. It's kind of guarantees a measure of success, I think. It helps us feel safe moving forward, knowing we can realize our vision, knowing that we can build our vision, and that it does make sense in the Web3 space, that it does make sense in the crypto market, that, you know, it does make sense to crypto investors, you know, because we can assume, but that only gets so far, right? So we've worked with a lot of different people to get to this point. I mean, it's been nearly 2 years now. We've never been in a rush. We found that when we did rush, actually, for periods, is where you make mistakes, which are good because mistakes help you learn. And we've made a lot in those 2 years. And we've learned a lot in those 2 years. But yeah, we've come out the other end a lot better for it.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Can you tell us how Fight Legends will utilize the support from platforms like Polygon Studios and Ultra to really enhance its gaming experience?
Yeah, absolutely. So we get a little bit of what we've just mentioned, but beyond that, player acquisition is a big thing. It's one of the big questions. Player retention might be king, but how do you get those players in the first place, right? Like that's number two. Player acquisition, massive. So Ultra, brilliant for player acquisition. I'm a big believer in what they're building. As far as the race to build the Web3 Steam, I think they're one of the leading brands, if not the leading brand in our of Web3 native brands. Huge partnerships as well. So, I mean, we're partnered with 10 to 15, I don't know the exact number, Web3 gaming platforms for player acquisition. But yeah, Ultra is definitely a standout. Polygon Studios is amazing. The connections they have, the intelligence and experience that they have is phenomenal. And it's really about getting us out there to communities, to big communities. And as they drive their own community growth, we benefit from that. So that's what it's all about. But I mean, we're going to work with BNB Chain for similar things. We're going to work with others as well. Like there's not a lot of exclusivity in this space. Occasionally you see it, but for the most part you don't, and so yeah, we'll be shopping ourselves around and capturing a lot of different markets that way.
Amazing. It does all come down to partnerships and communities, doesn't it?
It really does. It really does. And the beautiful thing about being a game, not just, a DeFi platform or whatever, is you can gamify this. We can make our relationship entertaining and engaging in ways that really no one else can.
Yeah.
And we're big believers in that, even including these brands in our city. When you're running around Fight City, which is the world we're building, you will see Polygon Studios. You'll see Ultra's headquarters. You'll see all these cool. You'll be able to run into Ultra's headquarters and look up at a screen that shows you the other games that they have on their platform, right? It's all about it really is about taking real life and bringing it into the digital space in a fantasy world. That's what the metaverse is all about. So that's what these partnerships are partly for as well.
Amazing. That sounds really epic.
Okay, it's going to be epic.
So what are some of the upcoming milestones that you've got and future plans for Fight Legends?
I guess the next milestone is, the very next one is the very first iteration of our global PvP. Our game is in its earliest phase, okay? That we've built the most basic MVP, which is like a demo. Most basic it could ever be. It's got great reception at like six big events around the world where we've put it on display, but it's so early and so embryonic. But we're taking a crazy step because we believe in open development and we want our community to get a hold of our game and play it while we build it. So we've gone a next step and we've built a very basic rollback netcode framework for allowing player versus player globally of this early demo, which so that's actually due in the next 2 to 3 months. So there's that. We've also got TG and launch. So we'll be doing our launch in the next 2 to 3 months as well. So a big sort of syncing up of those two things. And we're also planning a premium NFT drop for the player avatars designed to capture the Ethereum NFT market, which is the most volume, the most money, the most culture. That's where we want to capture the NFT degens and create a blue chip NFT drop, our flagship drop. And it's the player avatar. So it'll be your identity in the game. There'll be others, there'll be series of these, but these will be the flagship. And there'll be a lot of perks to that sort of thing as well that come in with, free trainer NFTs, free companion bot, free this, free that, free gym, customizable gym, all that sort of stuff. So those are the big three that are coming in the next 3 or 4 months, followed by staking. Behind the scenes, we're also building out our vertical slice, due in 9 to 12 months. That is like a big version of the MVP, like a polished version of that. And we'll be using that to drive our Series B investment round and publishing round with the likes of Bandai Namco and other publishing studios that we are friendly with.
Amazing. Can you just give us a run through of the different investment rounds that you'll be going through and where we're at the moment?
Sure. So we've already closed off our friends and family and seed round. It has been 2 years. And so we're now into the final round of our private round, the strategic round, we've been calling it. And then we're straight into the public round and launch. And obviously looking to launch on DAO Maker, who are one of our biggest investors, which should be noted, I guess. They're on our cap table already. They're also one of our most recent investors. That's likely exclusive with DAO Maker. So to get into that public, you've got to be with them. But for the private round, that's where we're at now. So yeah, we're in the private round, the last round before public round, and that's at 2 cents or $20 million fully diluted valuation of the token. We'll be launching between 3.5 cents and 4.2 cents. I'm pushing for 4.2, but it's in discussion at the moment. So we'll be launching at 35 million to 42 million fully diluted valuation. So there's a 43% discount there for the private round. Mm-hmm. We're filling up that private round primarily with, look, it is going to be VCs, guilds, larger ticket holders. But I've always been partial to the individual, like I want to tell you now that early rounds, we brought on over 200 combat sports KOLs. So UFC fighters, their coaches, federation presidents, promotion owners, business owners with 10 million martial artists on their books, this sort of like people who could bring long-term value to our token. Yeah. I grabbed them before anyone else. I grabbed them before I grabbed any crypto people.
Amazing.
So I've always been very partial to the individual. I like the hive mind. I like the community. And so what I want to do now is I want a lot of this round to be taken up by Launchpad communities. I know that DAO Maker are taking our public round, but I want to include Launchpad communities in the private round. It just makes sense to me. And I also want to have them competing against each other in a gamified way as we move forward. So I've got all this personal bias towards that. I don't know if I went off track there, but that's our round.
No, it's interesting to hear. Thank you very much. And obviously, we're honored to be a part of this round and really pleased that our community can get access to this amazing opportunity with Fight Legends.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really glad to have met you guys. Like Uplift, I keep saying it, but you guys are special. I don't know if I should put that out there publicly because I don't want to accidentally, what is it called? Backhand insult other people. But working with Uplift has been a pleasure. I love what you guys are doing and the way that you're doing it. Like I've spoken to hundreds of brands in this space, but Uplift really stand out to me as special. And I just think there's such a massive future for you guys. And if you keep doing exactly what you're doing, I honestly believe that.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I'm going to pass that on to the rest of the team where they're going to see this anyway and they watch this. Thank you. So how can the community stay updated with the latest news and announcements from Fight Legends?
Look, mostly just through our Twitter and our Discord. Twitter's the more public thing, but Discord is where I go to just chat. We have an NFT drop that I haven't really advertised at any point. It's kind of like our inner circle. Mm-hmm. Cost 42 Matic for one of these, which you can come see us about if you want one. But I go in there sometimes and I discuss stuff that I would, as if I'm talking to my team for the first time. So the Fight Legends boardroom is in our Discord and our community can be a part of that. And that's what I try to do. I try to make our inner community part of the team straight up. It's just, I'm not afraid of that, and I think there's a lot of benefits to that. You get to hear more criticism, you get to hear more ideas, it provides strength. So come into Discord if you want to have a voice. If you don't, just observe Twitter.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Lastly, what message would you like to share to the Uplift community and potential investors to, encourage their participation in the Fight Legends private sale?
There's a lot of noise in the Web3 space, and in the gaming space especially. You got to think long term. You got to understand that in the next 2 to 3 years, all the major Web2 studios are Web3. Their games are becoming Web3. The only Web2 games
whether you realize it or not, I guess.
Whether you realize it or not, like I speak to them. Like I've spoken, like I said, 6 months with Okamoto, 6 months with, I won't say his name, I'm not going to say their name, but like some of the biggest game studios on the planet. We've worked with them. We've spoken to their team members. We speak to their directors. We everyone is coming toward Web3 is literally just the future of the internet, right? That's all it is. It's the next internet. It's not something that Web2 gaming is rejecting. This is all small brain thinking. Web3 is the future internet. It is bigger than crypto. It includes AI. It includes other tech. It's much bigger than crypto itself. It's the internet. So all games and gaming studios are going to be Web3. And when that happens, even as that begins to happen, a lot of current Web3 games won't survive. They will get squashed by indie Web3 games in 2 years' time. It's just how it is, because they didn't innovate. They didn't create special IP, mechanics, models. They didn't think further ahead and recognize what's coming. And I think it's really important that everyone investing and everyone designing just does that. And no shade at these other games. There's some incredible ones that don't match up with what I'm saying. And I hope the ones that are listening, that ever watch this, think about what I've said and make changes, become more innovative, respect the real change that's coming in these industries. And I guess for us, that's what we do. We're innovative. We're here to redefine the fighting game genre, a genre that has been dead long before Web3 gaming was a thing. Where the fighting game genre has been in dire need of innovation for 10, 15 years, and you can Google that. So we've spent the last 2 years designing that, sanity checking it with the biggest names in game development from Web 2, sanity checking that with some of the biggest names from Web 3. And that's what we're building. So, I mean, I'd love to have everyone on board. Come and have your say and be a part of it and take part ownership in what we are building and contribute to it with your opinion, your ideas, your passion, whatever. You know, that's what we're about.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time. It's been amazing hearing more about yourself, about your project, about you know, how you even came up with the idea. And you've definitely put a lot of time, energy, thought and resources into making this game, you know, hit so many different angles as well, while still being, you know, predominantly a game that people are going to enjoy, come back again and again to play, and want to tell all their friends and family about it. And with the Uplift community, we're honored to be able to even get access to this exclusive opportunity. So thank you again. I'm really, really excited to get involved and to see the growth of your project.
Oh, mate, I really appreciate you and the entire Uplift team and the entire Uplift community. I can't wait to meet your community, to be honest. You know, I've met the team. I've had such good experiences with you, and I can tell your passion and your vision, your alignment is true and right. And, you know, so I expect that your community is probably somewhat the same. And I look forward to gamifying our relationship, you know. So
yeah, hey, my mind is already like buzzing. How can we gamify this? Bring it to the metaverse.
We're gonna have fun. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much.